So thank you for coming along for our Kiwifruit Regen Soil Biology Field Day. Because what we've found is other field days, people have gone away and planted a cover crop thinking, oh, this is the new thing to do, it's great, it's going to solve any issues I have. But what they haven't done is connected with why you're doing this. There's no point just going out and don't go out and plant a cover crop tomorrow if you're not understanding why. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. So please take that on board. It's not going to work for you because you'll just give up after one season and go, oh, this is useless. But the reason we talk about cover crops is that has the biggest change in one season to your soil, and you can see it when you start digging holes. So going back to the soil, everything is about the soil today, the biology, how the soil is alive. So to give you an example, a teaspoon, not even a tablespoon, a teaspoon of soil, bad soil, will have 100 million microbes in it, in a teaspoon. Good soil will have 1 billion microbes in it. So your soil is alive. So what you've got to do is stop thinking about everything above the soil. You've got to also think about below the soil. How do I get that biology working? Because when I get the biology working, we can then, it's helping your plant to become resilient. So let's say there's a stress comes on your plant, could be drought, could be frost, whatever. The plant sends out signals, and that microbe community goes back and attaches itself to the roots and looks after that plant the best it can. So there's a real relationship, and we've got to build that relationship up. And so everything you do, you want to think, how's this affecting the soil biology? So every topic today, we've got Phil Carter from BioStart. We'll be digging holes and talking about the life under the soil. We have Simon Budd from Fertco talking about humates, compost, whatever, some other stuff maybe, and how that not just helps the plant, but helps the soil biology, helps developing that to 1 billion microorganisms in a teaspoon. Then we have Levi Belcher. Levi? Sorry, I should have got your hands up. Sorry. Phil Carter first. Hand up, Phil Carter. Hand up, Simon Budd. Levi Belcher. So Levi's from Cambridge. He is orchard manager for Prosper. And so this is his 5th season doing cover crops. He would have done over 70, 80 hectares now of cover crops. So he's had a lot of, he's what we like to call an old hand at this. He looks pretty old. So he's been doing this for a while. So it's not just talking about planting it, but it's how to manage it in your orchard environment with health and safety and all those rules. And then we've got Boyd. Oh, Boyd's here. So this is Boyd's and Linda's farm. So actually, orchard, sorry. I do farming discussion groups as well. So thank you very much, Linda and Boyd, for allowing to have this field day on your orchard. So yeah, please look after it. No picking fruit. And Boyd will be talking about the spray strips of how being organic, he's not using glyphosate to spray. And again, all these topics are all how it affects the soil biology. So what we're going to do is break into 4 groups. I'll split you down. It doesn't matter if you want to move to another group. And we're going to send you off to one of those 4 stations, and you have 30 minutes there, and then you move to the next station. And so you'll have 4 stations. And the reason for the small groups is so you become comfortable asking questions, because we want questions. There's no point just standing here like I'm doing now, just lecturing you. There's no point in that. We need your questions with your context, your situations, which helps other people as well. So that's why we're breaking into small groups. So before we break in small groups, is there anything I haven't covered? Linda, Paul, anyone?
Emergency.
I've played around with it for a few years and have a bit of some learnings that I've had just from actually putting them in the orchard and what I found works, what doesn't work. So it's more of a, rather than a this is how you run cover crops properly, it's a this is what I've done and what's worked, what I've found hasn't worked. So fire away questions and whatever as well throughout. And I actually have a bit of a cover crop seed mix here if you wanted to have a look at it or get an idea. Throw it on the orchard. Yeah, pretty much, eh? Yeah, so I can I'll just run through my story, and if you want to ask questions or change something, do it. Yeah, so like I said, I'm Levi, I'm 26, I've got a wife and 2 little kids and a little son due in 6 days back in Cambridge, so my phone's on me in case she calls. Yeah, so I'm an orchard manager, like Stephen said, for Prosper in Waikato, managing about 15 orchards throughout the Waikato region. And before that, I was with another company, managing about 75 hectares, also in Waikato, and did cover crops in the end I was doing about 50 hectares of kiwifruit orchards. Why did I put cover crops in the orchards? Because I wanted to improve soil biology, improve the water retention, and I just heard lots of people were doing it, so I was like, oh, I'll give that a go, see what happens. Yeah, so I've got 3 rounds of cover cropping that my first sort of trials and what I learned and took away from each one of them. Yeah, so the first one I did on about 4 hectares of both new development and existing gold, producing gold. We planted that on the 3rd of August, which looking back now I think was probably a little bit early. But again, I was just figuring it out and having a stab at it. But we planted the Pastoral Improvements seed mix. They've got a orchard specific one. Planted that at the recommended rate with just a tine planter. Didn't have any closing wheels or any soil prep really at all when I did that. The soil we put it into, it was a contoured orchard. It was baked hard as rock. I think the PSI, when I put a penetrometer into it, was about 600 PSI in places. So, oh my goodness, not what you want. Yeah, nothing growing, dirt, water issues. It was just such a pain, so I was trying to do something to fix that particular area. Figured anything would help. Yeah, the water infiltration was slow. It was about 35 mils an hour, so not fantastic.
What was that? Hello, hi everybody. I recognise a few people. That's nice. Not going to be too mean to me. A disclaimer I'm going to use every time I start is I'm not a scientist or any form of expert in Roundup or glyphosate, but I have been orcharding for some years, and our farming background goes back sort of to the late 80s, and so through that process initially we were using a bit of Roundup with our dairy farming practice, and we were involved in spraying out obviously weeds, but also spraying up paddocks for cropping, etc. like that. But through as we become more confident, we've started to hear and see articles of residues and things like that, and just trying to back away a little bit from the glyphosate sort of area, and we sort of finished our dairy farming without any or very little glyphosate apart from just whatever, and we were a lot happier doing it, and so we just got away from that cycle of spraying out and cropping, etc. So yeah, I just want to start off by asking a question. Is glyphosate good? And
Definitely not.
sorry?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. No. Yeah.
Don't spray it on your food.
Don't spray it on your food. Yeah. But so the good aspects of glyphosate might be what? Control or weed control? Sorry? Hedges. Yep. Yeah. Anyone else? Like just sort of. Yeah, kaikua. I admit, we bought you here. There's no kaikua in this little bit here, but it is manageable. We have obviously got kaikua here as well, but we we don't spray it. So.
It was quite corrupt.
Well, I do remember, and whether this is true or not, like there was the earlier promoters, one guy was out there and actually drank a cup of it. And I don't know whether he's still alive today, but I very much doubt it. It was some years ago. But I guess that would boost your confidence if you can see somebody doing that. But anyway, there's a lot of hidden motives in a lot of this stuff that we got to deal with. But we've really got to take responsibility if we're on the land and on the soil. We've just got to take responsibility for that. So just be careful of who you listen to.
As an organic grower, you can't use glyphosate anyway?
No. There's probably exclusion zones. Like if you're going to be picky about it, that'd be nice for me to go around and spray all that, but around the sheds. But there is an exclusion zone. I think more like about 8 meters. I think away from your plants. But then you're still bringing in risk to your organic status. So sometimes it's just better to work around it, and have strategies around it.
So I'm Phil Carter. I'm work for Biostar, obviously, based in Hawke's Bay. So I very rarely go north of Auckland. Jerome actually looks after this area rather than me. So thank you for the invite, Jerome. Really appreciate it. Nice to come up here. And we're talking about soil health today. So ask questions as we go through, but we've got to be sort of reasonably quick as we do it. Okay, so first thing I'll point out is I've got 2 buckets here. So I've dug these soils out of this area here. So that one there is behind me under the vines. That one there is behind the shed in an area that has never been mown. There's no herbicide. And looks pretty rank. And clearly to the trained eye there is quite a difference there. Hopefully you pick it up. If you don't, we've got a bit of a problem, and I've got to do more training than I thought. But there is quite a difference between these two. So that's behind the shed in an area that hasn't been conventionally managed, shall we say, and that's under conventional management.
But this is under organic?
Yep, pretty sure it's behind the organic, Yeah, organics doesn't fix soil. Right, we might say we're organic, therefore everything's great, but it doesn't fix soil. You've got to do stuff to fix soil. Okay, so that's an example there. So that's actually a Hawke's Bay soil, very, very ultra compact, and that's just showing roots going through, slightly darker, more carbon, more structure, like in here, more structure versus less.
Got a couple of samples of humates. Osmate, it's a humate from Australia, and this one here is from the South Island. I'll just pass these around and you can have a look at the differences. So humates is a product that comes from the accumulation of partially decayed forest and other carbon rich plants residues which have been compressed over time, over a lot of time. Okay, and they're found and commercially mined from enterprises which are mining for coal. And so humate is the brown layer of material before you get your coal substance. So so a lot of people don't realise that coal is not humate. it's changed into another form, and it's got polluted in the process as well. As well. So there's things in it that you don't want. So can anybody potentially tell me why would we use humates in our Kiwifruit or avocados?